think if you put it in the right area for a long period of time, there was obviously a lot there. But, we saw with, I guess the Bangladesh middle order, if you kind of applied yourself and they look like you kind of manipulate a little bit. But, we definitely don't get this in New Zealand, so it's nice to turn up to this.
Some of the shots at Bangladesh, like the reverse sweep or the hit down, was it the mentality that you just have to get out of this situation?
Yeah, I guess it's a tough one. I guess we've seen obviously the last game when the Bangladeshi bowlers they're so good at hitting a spot for a very long period of time, and that's what we obviously talked about going into this game. And I guess the way to counter that is to maybe use your feet, reverse sweep, and stuff like that. So I think it was obviously a challenging wicket. Enough there for the spinners if you kind of stuck to a good length for a period of time, and we saw that just from Taiju and Mahedi.
The partnership that you had with Ejaz Patel and how was it going with them? Kind of, I don't think a lot of times you get to have three spinners together.
No, it's a rare one. It's usually with a big seamer at the other end in New Zealand, but I think what we spoke about is trying to bowl in those partnerships. I guess building pressure through dots or over a long period of time, and then getting wickets that way rather than going searching a little bit. There's obviously enough there if you kind of put it on a good length for a long period of time, and you get carried away at times of trying to get a little bit greedy, maybe going a bit full and trying to and stuff like that. So I guess watching the way the Bangladeshi guys go about it, that's the blueprint. They just bash away for a long period of time and get wickets that way.
Last one from me. Were you surprised to see Mushfiq, start with the ball like that?
Yeah, it's probably not a great option because he was looking so good. It was handy for us in terms of the time. Him and Dipu applied themselves, and that was a very good partnership for them. And I think going into tomorrow, if we can kind of get even some little partnerships like that, it's going to be a scrap this whole Test match. So I think those little kind of partnerships going forward are going to be massive.
I think new ball is more difficult for the batsman against the spin in this surface.
Yeah, I think so. I think we saw that with our innings as well. When the ball was new, it was kind of going faster, and then the ball got old and it just started to spin a little bit slower. I think it was still consistently spin. It just started to spin a little bit slower. So, I think for us going forward, if we can get through that new ball period, apply ourselves for a long time, and then hopefully it gets a little bit easier. But we're obviously under the pump already.
How much confident in taking lead? How much confident in taking lead?
How confident are you in taking a lead?
Yeah, it's good. We know it's going to be a challenge. We just talked about trying to build those partnerships. Whoever comes in, it might not be an 80 or a 90, but it might be a quick, like a 30, and building those partnerships and try to get to, I guess, a levelish score and then scrap again. It's going to be a bit of a fight for the next few days, no doubt.
Taking wickets on the day, do you see this test progressing past day 3? What kind of approach is actually okay for batters here?
Yeah, I think it felt a little bit tacky to start, and then we saw the ball going a lot. So I think if it dries up a little bit, it might start to flatten out. But there's obviously enough there for the spinners, which is nice. We know it's going to be a scrap, and we just have to try apply ourselves. I think if you can apply yourself for a long period of time, get into that older ball, it might get a little bit easier. But it definitely didn't look easy for that session then.
You had both of your phases at a 5-over spell initially. What kind of help did they see since you brought on spin pretty quickly?
Yeah, it looked challenging with the new ball. Tim got some to kind of bounce, and so did KJ. So I think there was obviously a little bit there to start with, and then I felt like with the ball it spun a lot more when it was new, and then I guess with the abrasive nature of the surface, the ball gets a little bit softer quite quickly. So you have to kind of capitalise if you can on those when the ball's still hard, and then there's that period from about 50 to 80 where you have to kind of just try bash away for a long period of time and get wickets through pressure. So I think looking forward to our batting innings, the rest of it, if we can kind of get that ball a little bit softer. But we'll see.
Means you'll obviously have to bat. So what would be your approach tomorrow? As a say, what would be the lower orders approach tomorrow?
Yeah, I think it's, I guess, our job to whoever's there at the other end. It's just trying to build partnerships. It might not be partnerships of 100, 120, but it could be, partnerships of 50 that could, that could get us up to. So I think it's just trying to fight for as long as we can, and then if they do bowl a bad ball, which they don't really do that often, it's trying to capitalise on that. So everyone will have their game plan going forward to, I guess, to put pressure back on, their spinners. But we'll wait and see.
And just as I asked you first, what sort of a message does it send for Test cricket? This sort of cricket. I mean, we know there are green surfaces all over the world. There are very good batting surfaces. This is like a spinner's dream. So, do you support this sort of stuff?
Yeah, it's spinning. So, I guess that's the challenge when we come over to this part of the world. It does spin, and that's cool. Like it's good for us to come in and challenge ourselves on these kind of wickets, because I guess when we go back home, we make green ones that can nip around. So I think, and we know how good Bangladeshi are at home, and they're very tough to beat on these conditions, and they, I think they showed in the first test the blueprint of how to go about their work on these kind of surfaces.